Okay, so starts off with E. Okay, so you heard where that switched. Okay, so when you play that D once, and then the second time you play the D, you switch your left hand to the D chord. And then I personally hit the chord one more time, the D chord, and then when you play it again, I go back to the E. Then again on the second D, you go back to the D chord, sorry. Okay, so then in the chords, I don't worry about the A chord I showed you. It goes straight from the D chord, it goes straight to the G chord. So when in the right hand, when you go back and you play the G, as soon as you hit that G is when it switches to the G chord in the left hand also. Okay, and then when you go back up to the D, the second time you play the D, you switch back to the D chord. And you stay at the D chord. Sorry. Okay, and then right now that's the A key in the right hand, and then I'm going to hit the B key next, and when I hit the B key I switch back to the G chord. So that's B, F sharp, G, and then you switch back to the D in the left hand. Sorry, you don't switch back to the D chord, you switch to an A chord. So that's when the A chord comes into play. It's when you have that part where you do that twice with the G, F sharp, D. Okay. Okay. Now I'll show you what I do. After all that is done, instead of playing the entire chord, I go, and you're all familiar with this part. That's A, B, C sharp. Okay, and that's kind of the ending to the trumpet part. Sorry that's very complicated. Again, I know it's going to be hard unless you have a good feel for the song. But there it is, just play that over again. I know that was complicated. But so we go. Okay, and then the first time that you have the trumpet, you are playing the chords like you were before, and in the right hand you do the whistle that I taught you earlier, so it should sound something like this. On the whistle here, you're not starting with the progression I taught you, so it's not, instead you skip right to the F sharp, so it goes. So again, you start with the F, you cut out the first progression, but it's the same as the whistle besides that. And again, I'm playing that an octave higher because it's a whistle. You keep the second progression. In case there's any confusion, I'll show you that on the camera. And then in the right hand you do the whistle, except starting at F sharp. Okay, so it's the same as the whistle I taught you before, except without the initial progression. Then you go back to a lyrical section. This time it's Alex, I'll follow you into the park. Again, same thing as before. I start with the D on this one. then for the moats and boats and waterfalls part. Okay, so the only difference here is instead of ending the typical way, I'm ending with playing F sharp a lot of times and then D, which is something I accidentally showed you earlier. So, moats and boats and waterfalls, alleyways and payphone calls, I've been everywhere with you. And then they say that's true. And then you have the laugh until we think we'll die. Okay, and this part's a little bit different. So laugh until we think, instead of just hitting the A, it's B-A. And then barefoot on a summer night. So it's the same thing. Never could be sweet. Sorry, never could. Okay, so F. Then when it says never could be sweeter than with you, it's F sharp, A, F sharp, D. And then it says, and in the streets we're running free, like it's only you and me. Again, that's just alternating between D and F sharp. Then it goes, geez, you're something to see. So ending in that alternate way that I showed you earlier. So I'll play that laugh until we think we'll die part again. In the streets we're running free, like it's only you and me. Geez, you're something to see. Alright? Then you do the home part again. It's exactly the same as when I showed you before. And then you play the trumpet part, which is also exactly the same as how I showed you before. However, after the trumpet, you're not just playing the whistle like I showed you before. Instead, you have the part where Jade and Alex are talking about the night she fell out the window. So for this part, as soon as I'm done with the trumpet part, the only difference I do with the chord is I don't play the middle key. So in the first chord, which is this, I don't play the D. So I alternate only between the B and the F sharp, just to kind of soften it out. So it goes. In the second chord, I'm only playing the D and the A. Okay, and you're going to play that all through once without playing anything in the right hand. So it goes, well actually, if you want to do it at the beginning, in the right hand when it says Jade Alexander, so Jade Alexander. Okay, so you can play that at the beginning, which I do in the video, but I don't play anything for the conversation. So Jade Alexander. Okay, and then after that I just continue on. So let me switch to the other camera and show you how that works. Okay, so you're gonna, when you play that Jade Alexander part at the end, your left hand and your right hand will be playing the A at the same time. So just so you know, so it goes. You're gonna play just that normal first chord, just without the middle, without the D. So D on the right hand, D 2 more times, and then for the then you start playing the second chord in the right hand. And then in the right hand you're playing B, A. So again. Sorry, I can't show you that more closely on the camera. Okay, now you just relax for a little bit. Nothing going on the right hand. The second time I'm playing the chords. But then the third time is when you bring in the whistle again. So once again, an octave higher. Now you do this the second way without the initial progression, like you did in the trumpet. So it goes. And then again, you end with that G chord. Oh, by the way, I've been forgetting to tell you this, but so let me give you an example of a lyrical chord that I play. rhythmical section, I go. They have something similar in the song where I hit that G chord, G, B, D, and I do that. I mean, you'll know when it sounds right, but so again, I'll. Anyway, so I just use that in between everything I play. It's not too hard. And then after we're done with that whole whistling section and that conversation between Jade and Alex, we do normal home. And then we do home again, but this time in the left hand, we're not going to alternate between the second two notes and the first note. Instead, we're going to play it in chords. And you're playing this a little bit slower. Oh, home. And also, I'm not playing that twist I put in with this thing. I'm not playing that here. Okay, so again, you're going to play home just like normal, except with chords and a little bit slower and without any extra thing. But then at the end of this section, you start repeating the last chord. So let me play it again. So you're playing that 1, 2, 3, 4 times at the end, and it picks up in tempo from that slow part. And then for the conclusion of the song, let me play it out here. And then as soon as you're done hitting those 4 chords, you switch back to the first chord, playing it the way you did before with the alternating. So I'm just showing you that so you know how the end sounds like, and I'll show you with